Brunswick today. A city council meeting is about to start in any minute now. We are on the line. We will bring you the broadcast. I will be asking some questions and making some comments on the telephone line, and we'll share with you at the bottom of the screen the line that you can call in to make comments or ask questions. But first, I need to bring some breaking news to you about the upcoming New Brunswick school election. This is going to be held on April 20th, and we just got word, troubling news, that 6 of the normal polling locations, the places people can go to vote, will be not open on this April 20th election. This would be the first time, aside from last year when the voting was done by mail, that we won't have a full complement of polling places for a school election. Of course, New Brunswick used to not even have school elections until 2012, when the people won the right to have their school board elected by the people. Elections have been held every year. In one case, or 2 cases, there were 2 elections in a single year, but in every one of those they had all 14 voting locations open around town. This is a move that will make it harder for people to vote, in particular in low-income communities like the Schwartz homes in Robeson Village, where they used to be able to go to a voting location in their neighborhood at the Housing Authority headquarters. Some of those folks would now have to walk more than a mile to get to 400 Jersey Avenue, the DPW garage, and some folks would even have a walk as long as 1.7 miles coming from Hampton Road to get to that location if the changes happen. We've been waiting to get this list. We just got it this afternoon that says there will be 8 voting locations open, and I'll read just the list of the ones that will be closed for now, and stay tuned for more information. But the Labor Education Center, that's the only one on the Rutgers campus. It's over by Sears. That will not be open. That will not be open for voting. The Roosevelt School near downtown. Again, the New Brunswick Housing Authority headquarters at 7 Van Dyke Avenue. The Hungarian Heritage Center on Somerset Street. Also on Somerset Street, Providence Square, a senior housing building that has been a voting place for well over a decade. The Senior Center over on Huntington Street that serves parts of the 6th Ward. All 6 of those locations will be closed. Mail-in ballots will not be automatically sent. Folks will have to either request a mail-in ballot or show up at one of the remaining 8 locations if this goes through. The Board of Elections, I don't believe, has had a vote on this, but we just got word from their administrator today that after speaking with the New Brunswick City Clerk, Leslie Zeladon, this was the arrangement that was made for voting in the upcoming election. This is a historic downgrade in the access to the ballot. Again, it will make it harder for folks to vote in the public housing along the Route 27 corridor, as well as many of the areas that have been affected by the sale of the Lincoln Annex School over on Somerset Street. And so this is a really troubling piece of news we got today. We wanted to share it with you right away. We will be doing a story on it, but I am going to encourage anyone who is against this and wants to see more democracy and more access to the ballot, and ultimately a higher turnout, greater participation, and more people to care about what's going on in our school system. I'm encouraging you to call into this meeting tonight and put the City Council on the record and ask the City Clerk why they want to close 6 of the 14 polling locations in New Brunswick. I sure will be using some of my time tonight to address this and ask a question or two about it, and I think people who want to protect our democracy and not see it backslide or roll back should be speaking up right now, because this is a moment where the changes of the pandemic and chaos that we're all going through is actually being used as an excuse to cut back on our access to democracy. So I'm going to put on screen the City Council for you, a picture of them, a nice picture of them from back in the day, and the phone number will be on the screen to call in the information, and we're going to bring you live audio of that phone call. The meeting's just getting underway. They're actually reading through the agenda right now. This is Council President Suzanne Sikora Ludwig. At the end of the meeting, there'll be an opportunity for anybody to comment or ask questions for up to 5 minutes. Thanks so much. Charlie Crowderville, New Brunswick Today. Here's the meeting.
meeting will be April 7th at 5:30 p.m. This meeting will now be called to order. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Councilmember Anderson.
Here.
Councilmember Egan. Councilmember Egan. Councilmember Fleming.
Here.
Council Vice President Escobar.
Here.
Councilmember Egan. Okay. Council President Socorro Ludwig.
Here. Please be advised that the notice requirements of the Open Public Meeting Act have been complied with and satisfied, and that the annual notice, which gave sufficient notice of the time and place and conduct of all public meetings of the Municipal Council of the City of New Brunswick, has been filed with the city clerk, has been placed on an appropriate bulletin board and posted in the back vestibule of City Hall, visible to the public through the windows in the lobby of City Hall, New Brunswick, New Jersey, and has been transmitted to the official newspaper for the City of New Brunswick, namely the Home News Tribune. Additionally, a 48-hour notice of time, place, and manner of conducting this meeting has been made to the city clerk on March 13th, 2021, as is required by law.
The City Council intends to meet on a regular schedule and will meet the guidelines of the Open Public Meetings Act by utilizing the telephonic conferencing system through which the public may participate. The public is encouraged to call into the conference system through the phone numbers and access codes transmitted in the 48-hour notice. During the portions of the meeting that are not open for the public, all callers from the public will be muted. During the public comment period, those who have interest in addressing the council will first be organized by last name and called upon to speak one time and for no longer than 5 minutes during each public portion of the meeting. The timer will chime at the completion of each 5-minute period, and the speaker will be notified that their time has expired. Public meeting assistants accessing the call-in number should call City Hall at 732-745-5007.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Tonight, should I ask you join me in a moment of silence to remember and honor Blanquita Valenti. Blanquita gracefully encapsulated the soul of a woman. She was compassionate, intelligent, powerful, and charming, the most endearing qualities in a leader and a person. I will forever be grateful for her guidance and miss her gentle heart. My deepest condolences and prayers to her family. Thank you for sharing her with us. Thank you, everyone. Can I have an approval for the minutes?
Motion to approve the minutes.
Second.
Councilmember Anderson.
Yes.
I would like to double check to see if Councilmember Egan has joined us. Councilmember Egan?
Here.
Thank you. Councilmember Fleming?
Yes.
Council Vice President Escobar?
Yes.
Council President Socorro Ludwig?
Yes. Madam Clerk, has the correspondence been directed to the appropriate departments?
Yes, Madam President. The correspondence received by the City Clerk's office has been forwarded to the appropriate departments for further action.
Thank you. We have no public hearings tonight, and we have ordinance for discussion on second reading. The first one is an ordinance to amend and supplement the revised general ordinances of the City of New Brunswick, Title 10, Vehicles and Traffic, Stopping, Standing, or Parking, Section 10.16.210, Schedule 3.8, Time Limit Parking Areas, and Section 10.16.050, Schedule 2.9, Time Limit Parking, Parking Meters, Easton Avenue. At this time, we're preparing to open the public hearing on this ordinance only for up to 5 minutes per person, one time. Madam Clerk, will you please prepare a list?
Yes, Council President. If any members of the public wish to speak on this ordinance, please state your name when the appropriate letter of the alphabet is called. A through
Unmuted.
E through I through L.
Charlie Cradaville.
Okay, Mr. Cradaville. M through P.
Matthew Rivera.
Okay, Mr. Rivera. Q through T. U V. W X Y Z.
Danielle Moore, you did not hear me.
Okay, Ms. Moore, I have you. Okay, is there anyone else, A through Z, who would like to address the council on this ordinance? This is the last call, A through Z, if you wish to speak on this ordinance. The list is now closed. Madam President, the first speaker on the list is Mr. Charlie Cradaville.
Thank you. Mr. Cradaville, can you please state your name, spell your
Muted.
and address for the record?
Certainly, Charlie Cradaville, Kratovil. I live at Saddam Street, New Brunswick. I'd like to ask why, and I'd like to hear from the council on this. Why are you doing this? Why do you feel the need to take away from the existing parking there that can be used by residents?
From what I was trying to get clarification on this afternoon, Mr. Cradaville, too. From what I understand, they're not taking away parking from residents. This is already an area that's designated for 2-hour time limit parking. Now they're putting in the meters because the 2-hour time limit just is not yielding the results that it should with the turnover of traffic for people parking in an area that has a lot of businesses. Now, that's my understanding of it. Mr. Dan, is there anything you'd like to add to that?
No, ma'am.
Okay.
Do any other
Well,
council members have any
sorry,
comment
go
on this for Mr. I just, did you want to see if any other council members have comments?
Yeah,
for you?
please. Yeah, that'd be great.
Do any other council members have comment for Mr. Cradaville?
No, I think you said
Hearing
it.
none, Mr. Go ahead.
Okay, so yeah, I am concerned, just because in practice, I think that this is a block where the residents use the spaces, and by installing meters, you might make a small chunk of change for the parking authority, but the end result is just going to be sucking money out of the community. And I feel like there are no businesses on this block. This block being between Mine Street and Hamilton. No, that's the block we're talking about.
I believe, yes.
Okay, so I guess there's a pizza place and a coffee shop on the Mine Street end of it, but there's no tenant in the high rise or the 9-story building that was put there. And I just kind of see a pattern of, as these new big developments get built that are out of character with the neighborhood, the parking authority comes in and changes what used to be, free or restricted to residents parking, and, starting to charge for it. And I just don't think that this model's working. We're not going to be able to, no matter how high they jack up the parking rates, that's not going to fix the financial problems of the authority. And I just, I feel like, it's going to make it less likely that people want to live here or visit here. It's already bad enough that this developer got to build this big, out of place building and almost, caused some serious havoc when they were constructing it and the crane collapsed. I just feel like, the parking authority, sucking some more money out of the community is not going to help. And I wish that, that would not happen. And I'd urge you to reject this ordinance and allow the current parking situation to remain.
That's all.
Thank you, Mr. Cradaville. May I have, Mr. Droulis, were you able to get any clarification on this for me this afternoon?
Yes, Council President, and the way you characterized your response was 100% correct. There is no residential parking there. It's only 2-hour standing parking currently. And if
Okay, thank you, Mr.
the cars are not cycling through the intended time frame, and it's creating issues.
Thank you, Mr. Droulis. Madam Clerk, who's next?
Council President, the next person on the list is Ms. Danielle Moore.
Ms. Moore, please state your name, spell your last name, and your address for the record.
Danielle Moore, 333 Somerset Street, Moore. I would just like
Thank you,
to
Ms.
say,
Moore. The floor is
well, I'm glad that I am able to speak this time without you interrupting, Ms. Ludwig. Thank you. I will say I don't see a reason for taking the parking away due to where Mr. Cradaville said that you have more residents that live over there than you have businesses. And I still don't see where, due to where you have multiple apartments over there, I still don't see where the residents are really going to be able to park due to where there is a situation with all the new buildings that you keep building. And I just have to say, I don't see any need for this to make it harder for residents to park due to where I have to say business is even with Rutgers being out of school, the businesses aren't really getting even heavy business. So I don't even see any need for this, for the parking authority to try to make money off of this, because it's not that busy over there with the Rutgers being closed, and they won't be going back into the fall. But that's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Once again, I just want to reiterate that this is not removing any permitted parking for residences. These are now 2-hour parking time limited zones, so this is not eliminating residential parking. May I have the next speaker, Madam Clerk?
Yes, Madam President. The next person on the list is Mr. Matthew Barrera.
Mr. Barrera, will you please state your name, spell your last name, and address for the record?
Yes, ma'am. My name is Matthew Rivera, Rivera, 119 Livingston Avenue, apartment 1F, New Brunswick, New Jersey. Yes, good afternoon, members of the council. My name is Matthew Rivera, and I'm actually currently a candidate for the New Brunswick Board of Education. And I would just like to raise a few concerns regarding the closing of 6 polling locations for this upcoming April election.
Excuse me, sir. Mr. Rivera, this portion of the meeting is for this specific ordinance only. You can make, there's definitely time for a public comment later on during the meeting.
Oh.
So if you have questions specific to the ordinance, no, that's quite all right. Just call back in.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome. Madam Clerk, do we have any other people who wish to speak?
No, Council President, there are no more members of the public on the list.
Move the ordinance.
Second.
Councilmember Anderson.
Yes.
Councilmember Egan.
Yes.
Councilmember Fleming.
Yes.
Council Vice President Escobar.
Yes.
Council President Socorro Ludwig.
Yes. Next, we have an ordinance to amend and supplement the revised general ordinances of the City of New Brunswick, Title 10, Vehicles and Traffic, Chapter 10.12, Traffic Control Regulations, Sections 10.12.160, Schedule 1.8, right turn on red light prohibited at Hamilton Street and Lewis Street. At this time, we are preparing to open the public hearing on this ordinance only for up to 5 minutes per person, one time. Madam Clerk, will you please prepare a list?
Yes, Council President. If any members of the public wish to speak on this ordinance, please state your name.
Unmuted.
What letter of the alphabet is called. A through D. E through H. I through L. M through P.
Danielle Moore.
Okay, Ms. Moore? Q through T. U, V, W through Z. Are there any other members of the public that would like to address the council on this ordinance?
Linda Stork?
Okay, Ms.
Linda
Stork?
Sorry, I was on mute. Okay, thanks.
This will be the last call, A through Z, if you wish to speak to the council on this ordinance. Okay, the list is now closed. The first person on the list is Ms. Danielle Moore.
Hi, yes,
Muted.
Moore, the floor is yours. Yes, Ms. Moore, the floor is yours.
well, okay, I will say, starting off with Hamilton and Lewis, great job due to where they did just finish repairing the light and the new walking systems. I just have to say, is this for a no turn on road? If you can explain to me what side this would be and what's going on?
Mr. Valenti, do you have any comment on this?
Yes, currently, one of the directions, only one of the directions has a prohibited turn on red. We are actually adding all directions. When the signal was redesigned by a professional traffic engineer, the recommendation came back to include no turn on red in every direction. So we're following the recommendation from the engineer.
Thank
Okay,
you,
so
Mr.
no,
Valenti.
so no turn on red at everyone. Okay, that sounds great to help protect pedestrians. Like I said, it is a great job. I did see the whole project. It was complete. Great job. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Moore. Who's our next speaker, Madam Clerk?
Council President, the next speaker on the list is Ms. Linda Stork.
Ms. Shore, can you please
Yes,
state
hi,
your
good
name,
evening.
spell
So
your
that
last
answered part of my
address?
question. I understand. Pardon me?
Ms. Stork, can you please state your name, spell your last name, and address for the record?
Oh, sure, sorry. Linda Stork, S-T-O-R-K, 12 Park Boulevard.
Thank you. The floor is now yours.
Okay, so part of my question is answered. It will now be no right turn on red on all four corners, from all four directions, right? So,
Yes.
and this is for pedestrian safety. And what is this, what effect is it projected to have on traffic flow? Because traffic can be a problem, and it's only going to get worse with the new parking deck down the street. Were there other considerations, or was it strictly for pedestrian safety?
Well, I think it was everything for vehicular safety and pedestrian safety. But Mr. Valenti, if you'd like to elaborate on that, if you have any additional information.
The primary concern is pedestrian safety. The expected traffic volume relative to the pedestrian movements, the warrants were met, and that was the recommendation of the engineer.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, because the traffic pattern is a problem too at that intersection. But I think it would help, because I think it would keep so many people from getting stuck in the middle and the gridlock that happens. I think it would help, but I'm not a traffic person, so I was just wondering what they had, if they had said anything about how it would affect the traffic. Thank you, that's all.
Thank you, Ms. Stork.
Council President?
Madam Clerk, do we have?
No more members of the public on the list.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Move the ordinance.
Second.
Councilmember Anderson.
Yes.
Councilmember Egan.
Yes.
Councilmember Fleming.
Yes.
Council Vice President Escobar.
Yes.
Council President Socorro Ludwig.
Yes. Next, we have an ordinance to amend and supplement the revised general ordinances of the City of New Brunswick, Title 17, zoning, implementation of reexamination recommendations. We are preparing to open the public hearing on this ordinance only for up to 5 minutes per person, one time. Madam Clerk, will you please prepare a list?
Yes, Council President. If any members of the public wish to speak on this ordinance, please state your name when
Unmuted.
the letter of the alphabet is called. A through Z, E through H, I through L.
Charlie Cradaville.
Okay, Mr. Cradaville. M through P. Q through T.
Linda Stork?
Okay, Ms. Stork. U through Z. Is there anyone else, A through Z, who wishes to address the council on this ordinance? This is the last call, A through Z. List is now closed.
Muted.
Madam President, the first person on the list is Mr. Charlie Cradaville.
Thank you. Mr. Cradaville, the floor is yours.
Yes, hello again. I guess I want to understand when these recommendations are from. The re-exam was quite a while ago now.
Yes, these were recommendations that were put forth in the 2012 re-exam.
Okay, well, can anybody tell me why they were not moved on sooner and why you're moving on now, considering you're about to do another master plan?
I cannot tell you why they weren't acted on before, but I know they are being done in preparation now for the new master plan, you know, acting in with the recommendations that were made in the 2012 re-exam. So this is actually in preparation for the master plan to have things that are in place already on our books, really.
Okay, is there anybody on the call who might know why these weren't implemented, you know, within a year or two of the recommendation? Maybe Mr. Dominguez?
Well, I can ask Mr. Dominguez, but obviously you know that that was when Mr. Patterson was here, so I'm not sure if he'll have an answer. Mr. Dominguez, do you have an answer to that question?
Through the chair, Madam Chairman. All questions through the chair.
Who is speaking?
I'm not sure. I have no idea because the question was through the chair, and I'm asking Mr. Dominguez. Do you have any answer for that?
Madam Chair, I do not. I've only been working on the planning and zoning components with the city really since late 2018, so I can't comment on why no one acted on it in the past.
Thank you.
Okay, well, regardless, I would like to know a little bit about like what these changes are going to mean. Maybe Mr. Dominguez can tell me about how it'll affect Remsen Avenue, because I see that's part of it.
Well, I know you're familiar with the Rose overlay zoning that he put forth that was approved through the planning board. This addresses specific definitions and intent in relation to the overlay zones and new graduated density areas within those zones and the industrial zones that are bordering residential areas, like to marry them together in a better way. And it also states the specific requirements for the bulk and height regulations in those areas. If you want specific numbers, I can certainly send the document to you. It has, you know, the certain heights and the variations in there, and it also describes the intent for each of them.
Okay, well, I do have the ordinance. Thank you for the offer. I'll review it, and I'll also review the comments that were made at previous, you know, public hearings on this thing. But just curious, you know, like bottom line, what does it mean for our neighborhood here in the Second Ward? Remsen Avenue is an important corridor. Is this going to mean more housing or more mixed use or bigger buildings, or are those things not part of it?
Mr. Dominguez, for that specific question right now, do you have an answer for Mr. Cradaville?
Yes, I do, Madam Chair. The Remsen Avenue overlay would create a bit more housing and mixed-use development in the immediate properties that front Remsen Ave. I mean, assuming that people choose to develop under those guidelines. None of the intention in the zone overlay matches what many of the developments are already in the Remsen Avenue overlay. I mean, Remsen Avenue corridor, specifically 3-story, flat roof, mixed-use buildings, of which many exist already in the corridor. And the goal would be to see more of those in a more modern light that would help revitalize the neighborhood and create more housing and more economic opportunities.
Thank you, Mr. Dominguez.
Thanks. Yeah, thank you for the answers. That's all.
Thank you, Mr. Cradaville.
Council President, the next person on the list is Ms. Linda Stork.
Thank you.
Yes, hi, my
Ms. Stork,
questions
the
are
floor
answered,
is
thank
yours.
you.
Thank you, Ms. Stork.
Yes, my questions were answered, thank you.
Move the ordinance.
Second.
Councilmember Anderson. Councilmember Egan.
Yes.
Councilmember Fleming.
Yes.
Council Vice President Escobar.
Yes.
Council President Socorro Ludwig.
Yes. Now we have ordinances on first reading. 1, an ordinance to amend and supplement the revised general ordinances of the City of New Brunswick, Title 10, Vehicles and Traffic, Chapter 10.20, Handicap Parking, Section 10.20.010, Schedule 3.9, Parking Zones for Handicapped Persons, add 238 Talmadge Street, delete 238 Talmadge Street, and 7 Lufberry Avenue.
Move the ordinance sitting down Wednesday, April 7th at 5:30, same day to be advertised.
Second.
Councilmember Anderson.
Yes.
Councilmember Egan.
Yes.
Councilmember Fleming.
Yes.
Council Vice President Escobar.
Yes.
Council President Socorro Ludwig.
Yes. Now we have resolutions 1 through 18. At this time, we're preparing to open the meeting to the public on the resolutions only for up to 5 minutes per person, one time. Madam Clerk, will you please prepare a list?
Yes, Council President. If any members of the public wish to speak on the resolutions only, please state your name when the appropriate letter of the alphabet is called.
Unmuted.
A through Z, E through H, I through L, M through P.
Danielle
Sorry,
Moore.
Charlie Cradaville.
Okay, I have you both. Q through T.
Linda
U
Stewart?
through T. Okay, Ms. Thorpe. Do we have any more members of the public who would like to speak to the council on the resolutions only? Is there anyone else? A through Z? The list is now closed.
Muted.
Madam President, the first person on the list is Mr. Charlie Cradaville.
Thank you. Thank you. Mr. Cradaville, the floor is yours.
Oh, sorry, I was
Cradaville?
muted. I'm back. Yeah, I'm here. Charlie Cradaville, New Brunswick Today. First one is Resolution 8, the specialized law enforcement equipment. I didn't get a chance to review it. Can you tell me what type of equipment it is? Is it any weapons?
The equipment is not listed in this agreement. This is the agreement between New Brunswick and the county that states the requirements of insurance and specifics on who's responsible. Let me ask Mr. Deputy Director Miller, do you have information on the specific equipment for this?
This resolution is not for any specific equipment. It's just an agreement between the police department and the prosecutor's office. If we were to borrow equipment, they have a host of things available to all the agencies. This is not specific to just New Brunswick. And this is an MOU we sign every year. It just says that if we do borrow equipment, we're responsible for it. If it gets damaged, we have the proper insurance to cover those damages. And at this time, there's nothing specific that we are borrowing or taking lend from them.
Thank you. Thank you, Deputy Director.
Okay. Well, I'll follow up later with some more questions about that. Can I move on to the next one, 9, the Splunk? What exactly is this software?
That I'm going to defer to Deputy Director Miller again, please.
That's software that controls the web access to the police department and the firewalls for the web.
Thank you, Deputy Director.
Okay. Number 11, the water meters. I want to ask about the status of the city's efforts to replace water meters citywide. How far along are we? Does this purchase finish that, goal?
I know that they are proactively replacing the meters right now, and this resolution supports the supply of that. And I'm not sure where they are in the process. Mr. Wallace, do you have an answer to that?
Yeah, this year kind of anticipating purchasing about 1,800 or so water meters. We probably have about 2,000 or so left to go.
Thank you, Mr. Wallace.
Okay. Moving on to police SUV, number 13. Who is this going to be for? Is this for the director or for, a certain one of the leadership?
Deputy Director Miller, is this just for inventory for anyone, or is it for a specific personal use?
It's being outfitted for our K9, of our explosive detective K9 officers and the dog that he has.
Thank you.
Okay. Okay, and is the department going, do you have another vehicle that is currently serving that function that's going to be, sold off, or is this just adding to the fleet?
Deputy
again,
Director,
please?
does this add to the inventory of vehicles, or are you selling the old one that you have now?
I don't know if we're selling the old one, but the old one is outdated and coming near its last leg, so we need this one to replace it. The K9 vehicles are equipped with air conditioning, fan to keep the dogs cool. As you know, vehicles will get very hot, especially in the summer. So we have to keep these K9 vehicles, pretty recent, so we don't have any problems and breakdowns.
Okay. Finally, thank you. Finally, the last one, number 18, the BLS. This is, correct me if I'm wrong, this is the longstanding arrangement where the county pays Robert Wood to provide basic life support services for the city, like ambulances?
Yes, I'm fairly certain you're correct. Mr. Mulrine, can you confirm that?
So these are funds that the county pays directly to the city for these services to defray the cost.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Cradwell.
Council President, the next person on the list is Ms. Danielle Moore.
Ms. Moore, the floor is yours.
Hi, yes, my first question would be number 6 with Livingston Avenue and Handy Street with the water main replacement.
Yes. What is it?
So what will be, when will this be done?
Specific timeline, I'm not sure. It's being done in conjunction with the project that's going on now on Livingston Avenue, and this gives us an opportunity to replace what we need to do without reopening the streets at a later date. If, Mr. Valenti, do you have a date on this? Or is this, Mr. Wallace, I'm sorry.
That'll be this spring. We have to get it done by actually July 3rd. So that's the drop dead. Have to get it done by date.
Okay, thank you. The next one would be, that would be 14, the Jersey Avenue Water Main Upgrade. Is this still the one by the Public Works Department, or this is a different one?
Yes, this is a change order for that project.
So it's basically the same location?
Yes.
Okay. And my last one, that was for what's going on with Sanford and Remsen Avenue. That's number 15.
Signal upgrade. Mr. Valenti, do you have information on this? I'm not too familiar with this particular one.
Yes, we are, this is a award of contract for a designer, a professional traffic engineer, to upgrade the signal at Remsen and Sanford. So this is the design process. This will follow, in short order, we have a NJDOT grant to redo Sanford. And so we're going to get the signals done ahead of time.
Thank you, Mr. Valenti.
Is this project basically like, I don't know what to call them, I just call them the walking meters when it tells you to go and when it tells you to stop?
We will not have voice activated controls, but there will be ped heads and it'll be a new system. The existing equipment is probably 50 years old. It's very robust, but it's time that we got to start replacing these.
Okay, well, that's good to hear that it will be upgraded. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Moore.
Council President, the next person on the list is Ms. Linda Stork.
Ms. Stork, the floor is
Hi.
yours.
Thank you. My question was about number 9.2. So it says it's for equipment and accessories, but in fact, this payment is just for a software subscription. Is that correct?
Can you restate your question? I didn't understand it.
That this payment is just for the software, the Splunk Cloud subscription. No equipment is involved.
Yeah.
It's for existing equipment. Is this a subscription that we always have? In other words, it's just being
Deputy
renewed
Director
for another
Miller?
year?
I'm not sure. I'm going to get you an answer, though. Deputy Director Miller, is this a renewal, something that we always have?
I do not know if it's a renewal or not. I know it's software that runs the firewall that protects the internet for the police department. I don't know if we're switching to a different vendor or if it's a renewal or a new one. But there's no additional equipment. It's software that runs the system.
Thank you.
Okay, and it's only a security function. It's just firewalls. It doesn't have anything to do with the actual. In other words, the radio transmissions can't be stored in the cloud. This is just the firewall protection of the department. It's just like a security you would put on your own computer, yeah. Just for security. Correct?
It has nothing to do with the radio system. I am not
nothing to do with the radio?
computer genius. I don't know the exact of it, but the way I understand it is a security system for the web. Yeah.
Okay. So, so you had said it has nothing to do with the radio. Because in the description, it says radio communication equipment
It
and
has to do with
accessories.
the internet.
It has to do with the software. It's a software program. Historic.
Yeah. Okay. Just, it seems like a lot. My other question was about 18. I know somebody asked about it already, but I didn't really understand the answer. What is the basic life support program? So New Brunswick is paid $53,000 to do what?
Mr. Mulrine, would you mind explaining one more time?
Sure. So we pay for a service through Robert Wood Johnson for this mobile intensive care service. It's been a long-standing agreement between the city and the hospital. And as the resolution states, because most of the people that utilize the service are within the county, the county agreed a while ago to defray some of the costs by paying the city these funds. So each year they pay the city this sum of money to defray some of those costs.
Oh, and that in turn gets paid to the hospital to provide the service.
In essence,
Correct?
yes.
Okay, thanks. Now I got it.
Thank you, Ms. Dork.
Council President, we have no more members of the public on the list.
Move the ordinance. I'm sorry, move the resolution. Resolutions, I apologize, Council President.
Councilmember Anderson,
Yes.
Councilmember Egan,
Yes.
Councilmember Fleming,
Yes.
Council Vice President Escobar,
Yes.
Council President Socorro Ludwig.
Yes. I now have items for discussion by council. I just want to start with offering prayers to Mr. Thomas Sims and his family. Mr. Sims lost his life in a fire on Saturday evening. I understand this is an active investigation, so no further comment will be made on this matter. Next, I just want to address at our last meeting, Ms. Kerber asked the council, or actually addressed the council, regarding an incident with a parked car in her neighborhood and the demeanor of the responding police officers. The complaint was investigated and the interaction was captured on the officer's mobile view video recorder, and it was found that the officers responded in a professional manner and acted within the discretion of the law. And what else do I have here? Oh, I have this fun news that for the first time in 30 years, the Rutgers men's basketball team made the NCAA tournament. They're playing their first game Friday night against Clemson. The women also made the tournament. They're playing on Monday. And I think it's worth noting and giving recognition that Rutgers has 7 teams ranked in the top 25 in the country right now. The men's lacrosse, women's field hockey, rowing, wrestling, women's lacrosse, women's soccer, and women's basketball. So way to go, RU, and happy St. Patrick's Day to everyone. Do any members of council have any comments they'd like to make at this time?
No, Madam President,
No.
I'd just like to add my condolences to the Valenti family on the passing of Blanquita. I was not fortunate enough to be on the council with her, as we missed it by a year or so. But I had the pleasure of knowing her going back to the 70s. And extremely nice lady, and always made me feel comfortable no matter where I was. So my condolences to the entire Valenti family, their friends and family. Thank you.
Yes, I would also like to say that Blanquita Valenti was a pioneer for the Hispanic community, especially women, and a personal friend of my family, and will be forever missed. And was she was something else. I'll just say that. Thank you.
If I may, I just want to echo everyone's words about Blanquita. She was a pioneer and a trailblazer, and as a Latina myself, to me, she was more than just a public servant. She was a friend, and she was somebody who inspired me to be what I am today, especially being a part of the city council. So she will be missed, and it was an honor to know her and to be part of her history when she was at the Puerto Rican Action Board, the board member and the president of the board, and some other things that she did in the community. She was a consummate public servant and somebody that we should all aspire to be. So my sympathy to the family and to Tom especially. Thank you.
Yes, I just want to give my condolences also to the family. Like we said, she was a trailblazer. You know, at times she was soft-spoken, but she would always pull you aside to give you advice, and she will be missed, and we're praying for the family.
Thank you, everyone. And now I'd like to have a OEM update from, I think, Detective Lemmerling is doing it this evening.
Hello, this is Sergeant Lemmerling. How's everybody doing?
My apologies, Sergeant.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
That's all right.
For calling you detective.
That's all right. No worries. All right. So our COVID situation continues to improve locally and around the state. New Jersey recently surpassed over 1 million people fully vaccinated with both shots or the single shot through J&J. On Friday, March 19th, we will see new expansions of capacity limits to 50% for indoor businesses, including restaurants, gyms, and personal care. In addition, outdoor gathering limits will increase to 50 from 25, and indoor gathering limits will increase to 25 from 10. Vaccinations are available at multiple locations locally and statewide. Local vaccinations include the Heldridge Hotel, our Rite Aid on George Street. For a complete list of the sites in Middlesex County, please visit our city website at cityofnewbrunswick.org. For a statewide list, please visit the statewide website, covid19.nj.gov, and search for the vaccine. Vaccination appointments have been difficult to schedule at this time due to limited supplies. We hope that with the rollout of J&J's vaccine, that the wait times will shorten. While we ask you to be patient, there are 2 phone numbers for call centers to assist residents with obtaining an appointment. So if you are 65 or older, you can contact the call center at 856-249-7007. All others can call the call center at 855-568-0545. Now, CDC has updated some of their recommendations for people who have been fully vaccinated. So if you have been fully vaccinated, and what that means is 2 weeks after your second dose, with fully vaccinated people without wearing a mask, you can gather indoors with unvaccinated people from one other household, for example, visiting with relatives who all live together without masks, unless any of those people or anyone they live with has an increased risk for severe illness from COVID-19. If you've been around someone who has COVID-19, you do not need to stay away from others or get tested unless you have symptoms. What hasn't changed is they, of course, continue to recommend to wash hands, wear a mask, and maintain social distancing. As far as testing goes, there is free COVID-19 testing every Monday, Wednesday, Friday from 10 to 6 at the New Brunswick Housing Redevelopment Authority at 7 Van Dyke Avenue. There's no appointment necessary for this location. Pre-testing will also continue downtown on George Street on Monday, March 22nd from 8:30 to noon. You can register for an appointment on our city website by visiting the calendar and clicking on the 22nd. This is a continuation of every Monday in March. Free COVID-19 testing will resume at Unity Square on Remsen Avenue next Tuesday, March 23rd from 10 to 2. There's no appointment necessary for this location either. Every Tuesday in March is when they'll be doing the testing at Unity Square. The city will continue to share updated information about COVID-19 on our website and social media. COVID-19 Report podcast with Burt Barron are a great source of information to our residents and can be heard on Mondays on the website cityofnewbrunswick.org. We and OEM remain in constant contact with our county and state officials since the start of the pandemic, and we will remain in contact to ensure that all city officials and residents can remain informed as information is provided. Last, on behalf of the OEM team, we also want to offer our condolences to Tom and his family. And that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you, Sergeant. Next, we have the public portion of the meeting. At this time, we're preparing to open the meeting for public comment for up to 5 minutes per person, one time. Madam Clerk, will you please prepare a list for us?
Yes, Council President. If any member of the public wishes to address the council, please state your name when the appropriate letter of the alphabet is called.
Unmuted.
A through Z, E through H.
Gonzalez.
Okay, Ms. Gonzalez.
Garcia.
Okay, Ms. Garcia. I through L.
Charlie Cradaville.
Marge Kerber.
Okay. M through P.
Danielle
Matthew
Moore.
Rivera.
Okay. Q through T.
Matt.
Okay, Mr. Rivera. U through Z. Is there anyone else, A through Z, who wishes to address the council?
I just don't know if you got me, Danielle Moore, I said at the same time as someone else. I don't know if you got me or not.
Yes, Ms. Moore, thank you. I have you.
Thank you.
This will be the last call, A through Z.
Linda Stork, S-T-O-R-K.
Okay, Ms. Stork?
And you got me, right, Marge Kerber?
Yes, Ms. Kerber.
Thank you.
You're welcome. All right, the list is now closed. Madam President, the first person on the list is
Muted.
Gonzalez.
Ms. Gonzalez, can you please state your name, spell your last name, and your address for the record, please?
Yeah, sure. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, my name is Araceli Gonzalez. That's A-R-A-C-E-L-I Gonzalez, G-O-N-Z-A-L-E-Z. My address is 5401 North Oaks Boulevard in North Brunswick.
Thank you. The floor is yours.
Okay. I feel a lot of noise, so I'm not sure if I should continue. Okay.
If you're on the line, can you please mute your phone or your computer? I think that's better, Ms. Gonzalez.
Yeah, I can hear now. Thank you. So,
Great.
right. So, well, I guess first I'll offer my condolences for the family and friends of Blanquita. My first time hearing about it, so that's, offer my condolences for that. A lot of loss in the last couple years, so we just have to keep on going. And with that being said, right, so my question is, I'm glad that we have the city clerk with us, Ms. Leslie, Council President, because I would like my questions to be addressed to the council and also to her. The reason is because
Excuse me. I'm having a hard time understanding you. I don't know if you need to speak a little more clear or if you can, the volume perhaps.
Okay, what about
that? That was better. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah, so we just got word that Ms. Leslie Celedon, the city clerk and Board of Elections, are proposing to eliminate 6 polling locations in New Brunswick. That would leave only 8 for the Board of Elections for this election that's coming up for the Board of Ed on April the 20th. And this is considering that this year, unlike last year, we will not have any automatic mail-in ballots. So that's very concerning. And so I would like my question to be also addressed at Ms. Celadon, who's also on this call. I'm just wondering, you're aware that this population is largely working class, and a large portion of it is impoverished, like below poverty level and well below. And so there's a lot of difficulty with access to transportation, the limitations, and even having a car, or paying for your car insurance or car notes, or finding someone to give you transportation. So I'm wondering if, my question is if you think it's appropriate, given the population and their limitations, if it's appropriate to limit their access to voting in this election, because local elections, right, they directly impact these families, and so I don't see how it's fair to limit their access to it. So my question is to the city council and also to Ms. Leslie Celadon, because I'm just given the population and demographic you reside over, my question is if you think that's appropriate.
Madam Clerk.
Yes.
Who sets the guidelines, who sets the parameters for the voting, laws with this election?
So I am the one who chooses the amount of locations with guidance from the state and the Board of Elections. So yes, we have reduced the amount of polling locations for this school board election, but there are 7 more than the previous year. Let's keep in mind that although some people have problems with transportation, they still have the option to vote by mail. They wouldn't have to pay for it. They just need to apply. The mail-in ballot will be sent to their home. They can fill that out. We have to keep in mind that we are still under a pandemic. We're trying to maintain the social distancing requirement. We have an amount of poll workers that are working at each location, plus the public that will go in. I did increase the amount of polling locations from our last general election. So it went from 6 to 8. So I'm not sure if Ms. Gonzalez has any other comments, but I'm just trying to follow
thank you.
at the moment.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Ms. Gonzalez, you did say you're from North Brunswick, correct?
I am from North Brunswick, but most of my family is in New Brunswick, and they do ask me all the time not to have access to polling sites.
Okay, thank you for your comments.
Thank you, Ms. Gonzalez. Your time has expired.
Madam President,
Yes.
are there any people or places that give rides?
I am not certain with the school board election how they run that, Councilman Anderson. I can have Ms. Zeladon get back to you after the meeting.
Or just get it out to the public? I know that there used to be, people that would give rides to voting places, whether it was Board of Ed or regular November.
Right, and I would think too, considering we're still under a pandemic, that I don't know how many people are willing to have other people in their cars. I don't know if that's a consideration, but when we get the information, I will certainly supply it at the next meeting.
Thank you.
Okay, I had a follow-up question. I don't think my time.
I'm sorry, who's next?
Your time had expired, Ms. Gonzalez. The next person on the list is Ms. Garcia.
I don't think the time.
Ms. Garcia? Ms. Garcia?
Yes, I'm here.
Ms. Garcia?
Yes, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, please
Hello?
state your name, spell your last name, and address for the record.
First name's Jennifer, Jenifer, Garcia, Garcia. Address 115 Remsen Avenue, New Brunswick, New Jersey.
Thank you. Go ahead, Ms. Garcia.
Yes, so my concern today, and also my condolences to the family of Blanquita. So yes, we did get wind of what's going on with the polling places, and I do understand that because of the pandemic, the polling places have to decrease. But also, we do have to keep in mind that Roosevelt School, the Hungarian Heritage Center, and then the Brunswick Senior Center, and the Labor Education Center as a Rutgers alumni as well. Those areas are, well, those polling places are in areas where it's easy to access. And I understand that we want to limit these places, but I also do want to ask, because the community also does have an option to request mail-in ballots, are those instructions in Spanish as well and in other languages?
Yes. In 3 languages.
Okay, and it's, you said it's accessible in your in the website, right, for the city council?
Yes, you can find the mail-in ballot application on our website, or you can go to the county clerk's office website, or even the state website
Okay.
has a mail-in ballot application.
And you do know that most of the community, we either don't have access to technology due to trying to decrease bills, and then also because most of the community is not tech savvy, so therefore either children of parents or somebody else has to teach these people to request mail-in ballots, right?
This is also, I don't know if you're aware, but this is a increase from what was open last year for the election, and even well, not last year, but over the general election. So we do have more polling places open within the confines of what's going on right now, given the pandemic situation. And I want to ask one question, Ms. Zeladon, are these the polling locations, are they already set with the state? Has that been, it's been decided and
It's been decided with the county, yes.
Okay, thank you.
And just in case, if people don't have access to the website, they can call into our telephone number or the county clerk's office. We'll be more than happy to mail in the mail-in ballot application for them to fill out. And there's no stamp needed for you to send it back.
Sounds good. And because it's already been decided, so that means you do support and only having 6 poll centers open, right?
There's 8 poll centers open.
There are 8 poll centers open, and this isn't a decision that the council has anything to do with. This is something that the city clerk does in conjunction with the county and the state. It's out of the purview of the city council.
Okay. My question's been answered. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Garcia.
Council President, the next person on the list is Mr. Charlie Cradaville.
Thank you. Mr. Cradaville, the floor is yours.
Yes, good evening. I have a lot to say tonight, but I do want to begin by expressing sincere condolences to the family of Juanquita Valenti, as well as to 2 people who passed away, Hub City residents, Rafaelo Peralta, who died in a car crash, and Thomas Sims, who, as you mentioned, passed away in that tragic fire. And so, sincere sympathies to everyone who loved them, and they'll certainly be missed. I do have to be extremely against closing any polling locations. This is unprecedented and inappropriate. It is, do you think it's fair to have the folks who live in the public housing have to walk more than a mile or to go vote if they can't get that mail-in ballot in time? It just doesn't, last year they sent out mail-in ballots to everyone to, because we were in the heat of the pandemic. This year they're not doing that. So there's no good reason not to have all 14 polling locations open. Do you think it's reasonable to ask somebody that doesn't have a car to walk more than a mile or pay to vote?
The decision was made, Ms. Zeladon made the decision, and we have 8 polling places open.
Okay, well then, through the chair for Ms. Zeladon, does she think it's appropriate for her fellow citizens in New Brunswick who live in the Schwartz Homes or Robeson Village to have to walk a mile or pay transportation to vote?
Ms. Zeladon, you did say that anyone could receive a ballot by mail if they requested, correct?
Yes, Council President.
Thank you.
Right, but you're not automatically doing that like was done last year. So this is voter suppression. Let's not mince words here. Taking what used to be 14 polling locations and cutting it down to 8 is voter suppression. And this is going to impact low-income communities and a lot of the same families that are already being impacted by the sale and closure of the Lincoln Annex School. So this is disgraceful, and you haven't heard the end of it yet because the Board of Elections has not taken a vote, to my knowledge, about this. And I'm certainly going to fight this and take this to the higher levels. If our city clerk won't fight for us, we need people like Jennifer Garcia who will. Is it true that the fire department is considering hiring the Anthony Jones Jr., the person who resigned in disgrace from the police department? Is that really true? Is he being considered for employment with the fire department? Can you ask the director?
The director is not on the call this evening. I can forward your question to him.
Okay. Do you happen to know if Anthony Jones Jr. has applied for employment with the fire department?
No, I am not aware. I have no idea.
Okay.
But I will forward your question.
Thanks. I do want to say that I'm very disappointed in Deputy Director Miller. It's been like pulling teeth to get answers out of the department on very basic things. So, for instance, his salary, you gave him a promotion, and I haven't even been able to get a straight answer about how much money the guy makes. I've asked personnel, finance, mayor's office. I've asked deputy director himself. Haven't gotten the answer. Can you ask the deputy director how much his salary is, or maybe you know?
I will not ask him to answer that, but I was told that you were given a website where you could go for the information. Mr. Cradaville, is that correct or incorrect? Were you not given a website or a location?
Yeah, so this is absolutely absurd. This is absolutely absurd. The city directed me to mycentraljersey.com, the website of the Home News Tribune, to get information about how much you're paying your people. Guess what? You have to provide that information. It's not the Home News' job, and sometimes their data is incorrect or out of date. So I'm demanding that the city provide this information. The deputy director's on the call. Why won't you ask him what his salary is? Do you know what it is? Can you state it for the record? It's a matter of public record, no?
Off the top of my head, I don't have that information in front of me. And I was just told that you were directed to the proper channel to receive it.
Yeah, My Central Jersey is not the proper channel. Okay, thank you. Because I agree. Why hide it? Any comment on the doubling of aggravated assault?
Your time has expired. Who's next on the list?
Council President, the next person on the list is Ms. Marge Kerber.
Ms. Kerber, please state your name, spell your last name, and address for the record. Ms. Kerber? Ms. Kerber?
I'm sorry, can you hear me?
Now we can. Please state your name, spell your last name, and address for the record.
Marge Kerber, Kerber, 2 Comstock Street. I'm also very concerned about the closing of these polling places. I would like to know who made the decision to close which ones. I mean, how was that decision made? Was it because the minorities won't be able to vote, or was it, I don't know how this decision was made, but I think it's pretty pathetic. I didn't think you guys were the GOP, but I guess you are, in trying to suppress votes. And as far as mail-in ballots are concerned, if I hadn't been on this call, I wouldn't have known that I have to call and get a mail-in ballot, because normally the Board of Elections mails me one automatically. So I guess they don't do it for the Board of Ed. And I don't know how many other people know that or don't know that. So again, I'm with Charlie on this one. I'll be talking to the Board of Elections also, because to me, this is voter suppression. COVID-19 or no COVID-19, it's still voter suppression. You're denying people the right to vote. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Kerber. Who do we have next on the list?
Council President, the next person on the list is Ms. Moore.
Thank you. Ms. Moore, the floor is yours.
Hi, thank you. I'm glad I can get a chance to speak now, which I will get to that soon. I would like to just say, give my condolences to the Sims family, give my condolences to the Valenti family, and to the family of the condolence where the gentleman was killed on Route 27 and Franklin Boulevard. I don't remember his last name, but my condolences to all. I had called in saying, wow, what a great job to the mayor's office and to the city. What a great job that the city has been doing with street cleaning. And I know street cleaning does not start until April. Wow, they did such a good job, but shame to say, due to where the city needs to do something with this recycling situation. And I pray that you do go back to waste management, because with waste management, you had to tie your cardboards up. You had to tie your newspapers up. Everything had to be in the containers. And wow, it's like the city workers didn't even come through here due to recycling was this week. And it's a shame. And I'm not saying in just my area. I mean, I walk through all areas and I'm like, wow, with everything blowing around cardboard. I hope that the city does look into going back to waste management, where we did not have this situation with this that we have with this new company you have from Ewing. Just because it's cheaper doesn't mean it's better. My story will be tonight with you, Miss Suzanne Secoy Ludwig, due to where you had
Council
everyone.
President, please.
Please, did you say you do the same thing every time to interrupt my time? Every time I'm talking, you only do that to me. And this is about you, Miss President, due to where you had everyone food, or how quiet you was the first year you were with council, where you didn't really say anything until I seen the other side of you at the planning board meeting. But I will say, I surely will be letting these videos, playing these videos to show, sure, you got 500 likes for when you won president on Facebook, but I'm going to make sure how many unlikes you get, how evil and disrespectful you are to cutting people off. City council is about teamwork. Everyone is from different departments. You can't answer every question that someone has from a different department. Just like when you try to say, ooh, and tried to act like the public works, ooh, every street was plowed 4 times. You did not go down every street to make sure it was plowed 4 times. Some streets, the plows can't even sit down. How you tried to call me a liar on Facebook, but I'm so glad the gentleman played the video to let the residents hear you say that. And like I said, I'm going to continue letting the residents hear how you keep disrespecting people, where if you don't have the time, you don't want to listen to the residents, help solve what's the situation, you don't need to be president. And believe me, like I say, I sure will make sure the residents do hear it, to make sure you be the worst, listed as the worst president, because how you disrespected me last week, just because at the last meeting, just because I wanted to ask Mr. Jones where he was head of Code Blue, not you. You barely even give the other council members a chance to speak, like it's all about you. But like I say to everyone, due to the way you disrespectfully evil to me, how you did me last week, your evilness will come back and bite you in your ass, Suzanne Secoy Ludwig. Thank you.
Thank you. And just for the record, there'll be no foul language during this meeting. That's not acceptable. And also, the matter at hand that I believe Ms. Moore was speaking about was that she was not conducting business in the proper order during the meeting. The meeting is run through the chair, and that is how our meeting is run. We have to keep order. That applies to the council members and the public alike. Can we have the next caller, please?
Yes, Council President, the next person on the list is Ms. Linda Stork.
Thank you, Ms.
Yes,
Stork.
hi. I wanted
Yours.
to talk about this. Hello?
I'm sorry, I
hear me?
lost you for a brief second, but I can hear you. I can hear you again.
Okay, so I also wanted to talk about the polling places. I was very disturbed to hear that almost half of the polling places would be closed. It doesn't matter that it's more than the general election. The point is, people aren't going to get ballots in the mail automatically, and they may be assuming that they would. How would they know that they had to send for a ballot? The Board of Ed elections are very kind of low-key, low participation, under the radar. I mean, if people could easily not realize that they had to do that, not know how to do that, it just adds extra hassle to the process, which is what voter suppression does. It doesn't make it impossible to vote, it just makes it more difficult to vote. And I'm very concerned with the selection of places. First of all, the explanation of, the pandemic doesn't make any sense because, in fact, social mentioned by Ms. Zeladon, but so if you're trying to social distance, common sense would say, don't have more people going to less places. The more places you have open, the more room people would have, the more space there would be. Also, how would you know if your polling place is closed? Is there only one other acceptable place you can go? I would assume, since you usually have to go to your own. And how would you know that? And also, some of them are quite far. It concerns me that the housing authority won't be open. So many people live so close to the housing authority. And I guess they have to go down to the Public Works garage, but that's it would seem like it would be the other way around because nobody lives at the Public Works garage. So you would think if you had to close one,
President?
Close that one.
Yeah. If you don't mind, I would like to tell Ms. Stewart that the sample ballots that come in the mail to every registered voter will have the polling location that will be closest to their home.
Thank
And
you.
will also, and will there be an explanation about requesting a mail-in ballot, informing people they will not be getting one automatically? Will there be some kind of explanation, not just that the address, is changed of the polling place, but the fact that they have the option?
The county clerk's office.
Ms. Zeladon, is that on the sample ballot?
Council President, I would direct that question to the county clerk's office. That's not in my jurisdiction.
Thank you. Ms. Stork, you can ask the county clerk's office about that.
Well, okay, but I mean, it should be concerning to us if it's going to affect our voter turnout. It seems like you would want to know ahead of time if people were going to be informed what they had to do to actually vote, and to not. I'm still not clear on the exact rationale. As I said, the pandemic rationale doesn't make sense because in social distancing, it really can't be that. Because we're doing the opposite. We're putting people into less places. So what was the real reason that it was felt that we couldn't have all the polling places open?
Ms. Zeladon already answered that question before, Ms. Stork.
Well, she said the pandemic and social distancing, but I'm saying that doesn't really make sense to me unless she could explain it better to me. Not understanding that.
She gave her explanation before. I don't think there's any way to explain that further.
Okay, so the council is in agreement then that because of the pandemic and social distancing, we should only have just over half of our polling places open, including the ones that are located in the most densely populated areas.
Thank you for your comments.
Your time has expired, Ms. Stork. Council President, there are no more members of the public on the list. I'm sorry, Ms. Rivera. I'm sorry, I
Mr.
apologize.
Rivera.
Move the resolutions.
No,
Rivera?
We
Council
have one more
President,
person on the list. Yes,
I apologize. Mr. Rivera is on the list.
thank
That's
you.
fine.
Mr. Rivera, can you please state your name, spell your last name, and address for the record?
Yes, it's Matthew Rivera, Rivera, 119 Livingston Avenue, apartment 1F, New Brunswick.
Thank you. Thank you. Go ahead.
Good evening, members of council. To begin, I would like to offer my condolences to all those who are experiencing the loss of friends and family members. However, I'd also like to raise similar concerns regarding the closing of polling locations for the coming Board of Education elections. While limiting polling locations during a general election was certainly a sensible decision given the thousands of voters that were anticipated to and did in fact show up, I do not believe we currently have the same set of circumstances this time around. Turnout for school board elections has been relatively low since their inception back in 2013. And if the aim of reducing polling locations was to limit the spread of COVID-19, opening up more polling locations would be a much more effective tactic of doing so, as it would allow them to spread out over a larger area. And course of action would be, honestly, to increase the voter proximity to each other, and ultimately it would be it intentional or not, it would result in the suppression of voter rights. Even if it was an increase in the general election, I would also like to point out that the goal should be to facilitate voter participation, not minimize it. And as such, through the chair for Ms. Eladon, is this still a stance you support yet?
I'm sorry, I did not hear your question, and I'll direct it to the clerk. Can you just repeat it for me, please?
Yes, I'm sorry. As such, through the chair for Ms. Eladon, is this still a stance you support the limiting of voting locations?
Ms. Zeladon, do you still stand by your decision?
At the moment, yes, Council President. I reviewed the different options, and I took a look at the size and the locations that are close to most voters. So I did take account of, what the outcome can be. I'm not trying to limit the amount of voter turnout.
Yeah, and I understand that. However, I mean, just given that these are different circumstances with different populations that are participating, does that not at all affect the outcome?
That's not a question that we can answer.
Okay.
Council has no jurisdiction over polling. Mr. Rivera, do you have any other questions?
I'm fine for now. Thank you.
Okay, Council President, at this time, we have no more members of the public on the list.
Move the resolutions.
Move